that was on that webinar.
The local young lady?
That was very powerful.
It was.
I think we're on.
Okay,
I've got
yeah.
a homebound friend now. He hurt his back.
Are you sure?
What? It was.
Yeah, it's been-
Ron, would you like to come and offer us a prayer?
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for another meeting of our leaders. Lord, we just thank you for each of them and their willingness to serve. We pray a blessing upon them and their families. Lord, would you just be with them? Let your peace prevail in this meeting tonight. Just be with each of them as they discuss these important matters regarding our community, Lord. We just thank you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I'd like to officially open the meeting. Ann, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We have a rather lengthy agenda, but most of the issues are wrapping up old business. First item is the approval of the consent of the city meetings from the meeting on September 8th and the September 21st. Are there any questions regarding the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? We have no public hearings.
Watching this.
Yeah, no, I was watching that. Thank you. We have no public hearings, no acknowledgements or special presentations. We have reports in front of you for 10 different boards and commissions. Are there any questions on those? If not, moving on to old business. David and Christine, any question you have, just give me the sign and I'll keep an eye on you. The first item under old business is an ordinance rezoning a portion of 124 West Lions Club from heavy manufacturing and rural residential to highway commercial. Who's going to present?
Tom's going to present.
Oh, Tom. Thank you.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm joining y'all from home today, so don't have a PowerPoint presentation for you, but just to remind you, this was that rezoning request on Lions Club Drive, to rezone a portion of the property from the M2 Heavy Manufacturing District and the RR Rural Residential District to the C3 Highway Commercial Zoning District. There was a lot of discussion last time about the potential use of the property and the potential uses in the future, and as we know, the applicant is proposing a kind of a landscaping business to sell some, basically a soil mixture, and the C3 zoning will allow for that business, and then the outdoor storage that type of business would require. The portion of the property is zoned M2. Heavy manufacturing was zoned that way many years ago, and so the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended that area also be rezoned along with the other RR portion of the property to be rezoned at the same time, so that it'd all be one commercial zoning district, but also kind of get rid of this M2 heavy manufacturing zoning district, which allows for a lot of uses that probably wouldn't be desired in that area. Then there was some discussion about whether or not conditions could be imposed on the property, and we did do some research on that, and I think we've kind of come to the opinion that for the vast most part, you really should not impose conditions. There are a few circumstances, there'll be very few and far in between, but you really should not impose conditions, especially when it comes to types of uses that occur on the property or limitations. The proper way to address that would be to make some changes to the zoning code so that in the future, those types of things would apply just uniformly across the city. Do you have any questions for me before you vote on this?
No questions for Tom? If not, can we have the final reading?
An ordinance to approve the rezoning a portion of 124 West Lions Club Drive from the M2 Heavy Manufacturing and RR Rural Residential Districts to the C3 Highway Commercial District.
Because we have some people participating remote, can we do roll call vote, Carol?
I need a Motion, I guess, first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
A motion?
Oh, so moved.
Second?
Motion by Marie, second by Rachel. Roll call vote.
Mush,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Eberly,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
11 A's.
Zoning is approved. Next item is an ordinance amending section 27-118 of the code regarding 2-hour parking. Darren?
As we talked at the last meeting, parking enforcement brought up a couple of spots downtown that were not compliant. They were listed as 2-hour parking, but were not reflected in the ordinance. So we did try to do a comprehensive review of the downtown 2-hour parking, ended up finding a total of 4 locations that need to be changed. So this ordinance would make those changes and bring the ordinance in compliance with the field. Any questions?
Any questions for Darren? If not, can we have the final reading?
An ordinance amending section 27-118 of the general ordinances of the city of Rolla, Missouri, known as the Code of the City of Rolla, Missouri, relating to parking.
Move proposed ordinance passed.
Second?
Motion made and second. Roll call vote, please.
Florence,
Yay.
Crow,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Higgins, Eberly,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Mush,
Yes.
11 A's.
Ordinance is approved. Next item is an ordinance amending section 2793 of the code related to parking.
So on 11th Street near the Lutheran Church, there's no parking during school day zone. The Lutheran Church no longer has a school there, so staff is proposing to remove that zone. There's also no parking during school days on Maple Street between 10th and 11th. That area was made no parking during school days because we had a lot of high school students parking in there. We believe that they've expanded the parking lots enough now where that won't be an issue, so staff is recommending making that change also. Any questions?
Any questions for Darren?
Yeah, is there an hourly limit on that? Is there going to be?
So
Is it
once
just
it's
open
removed,
as-
it'd be, there'd be no limit.
Okay.
Just normal ordinance, which I believe is, was it 72 hours?
Okay.
If there's no questions, can we have the final reading, please?
An ordinance amending section 27-93 of the general ordinances of the city of Rolla, Missouri, known as the Code of the City of Rolla, Missouri, and enacting a new section 27-93 in lieu thereof relating to parking.
Move proposed ordinance passed.
Second?
Motion made and second. Roll call vote, please.
Higgins. Did she hear me? Higgins,
Terry?
She may be the one who's,
Yeah,
Higgins,
maybe she doesn't have audio on.
Say yes.
Terry?
he's almost there.
Terry, can you hear us?
Try again.
Terry, can you hear us?
No, she's connecting to audio.
It's connecting to audio.
Is Rob back there, or
Robert Bryan, I think Bryan might.
could they send her a message?
Yeah.
Carol, you want to go through the others and we'll end up with Terry?
pardon me,
Can you go through the roll call vote and we'll end with Terry?
Bolin,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Mush,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Eberly,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Higgins. She's still in here.
I wonder if we could just chatter then.
That's why I've asked him to
Oh, okay.
send her a message. Now, if she starts eating dinner, we're going to pass by.
Can we send her a note?
Can she see us?
They're trying to do that.
I don't know what she has. Does anyone have her cell phone?
Terry, can you? No, I guess not. Well, we have enough votes. Should we just keep going?
Yeah. that's
Okay.
I'll shoot her an email, but
All right. Ordinance is approved. Let the record show that there's one, not an abstention, it's
Unavailable.
unavailable to vote. Next item is an ordinance amending section 2789 of the code regarding intersections.
So we're proposing to add two stop intersections, Old English at Whitehall and Whitehall at Fox Creek. Why these were never had stop intersections in the ordinance, I don't know. How we found it was when the stop signs got knocked down, we went to put it back up and realized it wasn't on the ordinance. So staff is recommending that we make these stop intersections. Any questions?
Just a comment.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. It's really needed there.
Any other questions for Darren? If not, may we have the final reading?
An ordinance amending section 27-89 of the general ordinances of the city of Rolla, Missouri, known as the Code of the City of Rolla, Missouri, pertaining to stop intersections.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made and second, roll call vote.
Allen,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Boland,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Mush,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Everly,
Yes.
Crowell,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Higgins. No Higgins.
She signed off. Ordinance is approved. Moving on, and again, let the records, Terry, can you hear us? Let the record show there was one that was not able to vote. Moving on, I'm sorry, one more, under old business. An ordinance authorizing me to enter into an agreement with Pierce Asphalt.
So at the last meeting, council awarded the bid to low bidder of Pierce Asphalt for FY 2020 Phase 3 asphalt improvements. So this phase overlays Rolla Street from railroad tracks to First Street and the layer made parking lot in the park. So staff's requesting a final reading of the ordinance, authorizing the mayor to enter into the contract for $57,285.45. Any questions?
If there's no questions for Darren, final reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Rolla, Missouri to execute on behalf of the city of Rolla, Missouri, certain agreement between the city of Rolla, Missouri and Pierce Asphalt LLC for fiscal year 2020 Phase 3 asphalt improvements project number 506.
Proposed ordinance passed.
Second.
Motion made and second, roll call vote, please.
Crowell,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Boland,
Yes.
Mush,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Everly,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
12 ayes.
Ordinance is approved. Moving on to new business. First one is a resolution authorizing me to execute a contract with the Rolla Public School System for the SRO officers and crossing guards. Chief?
Good evening. This contract is for 3 SROs, 5 crossing guards. It will pay 75% of the salaries for the SROs, and it will pay half of the salaries for the 5 crossing guards. They also donate $6,000 a year towards our volunteers in policing as part of this contract. Any questions?
Hold on one second. Yeah, okay. before we make that correction, any questions for Chief?
Yeah, there is a mistake on the contract saying 2 SROs when it should be 3.
Right.
That will be correct. We're aware of that, we just weren't able to get it here in time.
So the right answer is 2.
No, the right answer is 3.
Right answer is
SROs.
3.
So
Any questions?
can we need a motion to amend that to a 3.
Okay, let me see if there's any questions first. Matthew?
No, I was just
No.
gonna make the motion.
Okay, so the first one is a motion to amend the contract to reflect 3 school resource officers.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, so is there a motion to, oh, wait, we need to read this now. Yeah, we need to read that first. Read the resolution, please.
As amended, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Rolla, Missouri to execute on behalf of the city of Rolla, Missouri, a contract with the Rolla Public School System for the cooperative placement of 3 school resource officers and 5 school crossing guards within the school system in support of the BIPS program.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the resolution. Roll call vote, please.
Eberly? Yes. Allen?
Yes.
Murphy? Yes. Boland?
Yes.
Schneider? Yes. Reuter?
Yes.
Mush?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Lyons?
No.
Crow?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Florence?
Yay.
11 ayes and 1 nay.
Resolution is approved. The next item is an ordinance amending Chapter 35 of the code regarding sanitary sewer rates. Steve?
The ordinance that you have in your packet proposes to raise the basic rate for sewer service from $5.25 per thousand to $5.40 per thousand. This would raise the average user in Rolla's base rate from $21.37 to $21.98 per month. The service availability fee was already set to go from $9 to $12 a month, beginning in January. Total increase this year for the average user once the rate increase goes in January would go from $37 per month to $33.98 per month. The non-metered users would go from $389.16 per year to $407.74 per year. And our 2021 budget was based on this rate increase going into effect. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Steve, what's the average user today? How many gallons?
4,070 is the average.
That's households or that's businesses and households?
That's the single-family household.
It's about 4,000.
Yeah, a little over 4,000.
And that's been coming down?
Been coming down. It's that.
Because it's triggered by water usage.
6,000 gallons a month.
Yeah,
So
okay,
now
thank
it's
you.
gone around just over 4,000. Smaller households, more energy efficient appliances.
Any questions for Steve?
So, I do.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we talked about this when we did the budget meeting that I missed, but are these part of a regularly scheduled increases, or what was the rationale for going up?
Well, the unit rate for this treatment went up basically because of my contribution general fund went up considerably. So I had to cover that increase.
So, wait, hold on, Steve, a little more explanation than that, I think. So, how often do you adjust rates because of changes in treatment fees?
We look at
Forget
it
the
every
general
year.
fund transfer.
Every year we look at it and we see what our costs are and we try to hold them down the best we can, but we haven't had a rate increase on the treatment side for 3 years. We have been doing a source availability fee, but we haven't had one for the treatment costs.
Right, so Jody, it's
That has
triggered
gone
by
up.
actual treatment cost
Gotcha.
principally, so as those go up and when those goes up, that changes. The service availability fee, I believe, is tied more to infrastructure,
It's tied to the collection
to
system.
the collection system.
Okay, thank you.
And where does the capital improvements that we're doing roll into this?
It's in the unit rate, the $5.40 per thousand.
Okay,
And that was a very significant investment.
yep.
and those payments are gonna start, the interest kicks in this year, but the payments don't start till next. We don't know, we're gonna wait and see when we get the project done, but there may have to be another rate increase, unit rate increase to cover those payments.
So stating it that way, this rate must have projected in interest and principal payments
Yeah.
that you're anticipating?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not going into the reserves and then waiting to put a rate increase in?
No.
Okay. Matthew?
Steve, do you know how this rate compares with other municipalities in the area? I know when RMU presents their amounts, they always show us the differing rates.
If they're in the same 5-year permit cycle, I'm below average. If they haven't hit that, then I'm probably a little above average.
Do you know what it, like, say, for example, Waynesville, do you know where they're at?
I don't have that on top of my head, no.
Okay.
But last time I looked, even throughout the whole state, regardless of where you're at in the permit process, we were right in the middle of the pack.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Steve? If not, can we have the first reading?
An ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 35 of the General Ordinances of the City of Rolla, Missouri, known as the Code of the City of Rolla, Missouri, relating to sewers and water.
Next item is a request for a motion selecting the engineering consultant for the street and traffic facility study.
We asked consultants, we advertised for requests for qualifications on this particular project. This project is at our Public Works facility out on McCutcheon Road. If you remember, several years ago, the Solid Waste Department built a facility at that location. It was the intent that the Street and Traffic Department would ultimately move into that same location. At the time, wastewater, or the time with Solid Waste did their phase, we just couldn't afford to make the payments on a new building. So we've held off until we've got an existing financing bond paid down enough to where we can refinance it, extend the length of it from 5 to 10 years and still make the same payment that we're making today. So that's where the funds are coming from. Basically, it'll be a clone of the building that's out there now. It'd be a 20,000 square foot building that would house both our street and traffic departments. In addition, there would be a salt dome for road salt that would be capable of doing about 2,000 tons, which is it's a year and a half's worth of salt in an average year. We had two firms apply. Archer Elgin Engineering of Rolla was the firm on the original building. We felt like that their familiarity with the project gives them a little bit of a heads up on the selection process, and we're recommending that we be allowed to negotiate a contract with them, bring that back for council's approval. Total estimated project is $2.5 million.
So when does the bond that's coming due, when's the last payment on that? Not month, but approximately.
When's the last payment?
Yeah, you're going to refinance by essentially you're paying off another bond, right?
Right. Yeah, it's got 5 years left on it. We'll take and just add 5 years. Basically, it's the same as adding 5 years on the end of it, but it'll be a whole new financing mechanism.
Okay, so you're not,
Interest a little bit less.
yeah, so you're not adding on per se. You're going to pay off one and then issue a new bond for
Right.
this.
And the
But
payment
it just
will
so happens the payments are about the same.
Yes.
So stated that way, Steve, are you saying that you're essentially not going to build this for 5 years?
No, we're going to build it now, finance it. The financing package will come together sometime in early 21, maybe mid 21, depending on how long we can get the thing designed and.
That's the part I'm missing. Okay, which I think what I understood you to say is, we're not going to be looking for new money. We're
Right.
going to take money that we're using to pay bonds now.
Right.
And then we'll pay new bonds.
Right.
And those bonds are not going to be paid off for 5 years.
For 10 years total. We're adding 5 years onto an existing 5-year note. So it'll take 10 years to pay it.
Okay, so you're not issuing new bonds.
Yes.
You're,
We're going to issue a new bond. We'll pay off the old one.
who's on first?
It's kind of like when you refinance your house and you go to a different bank, the bank that you refinance just pays off your mortgage to the other bank, and then you have.
Okay,
you have
so
the
we're going to
mortgage
issue
to the
new
second bank.
bonds. That new bonded amount is going to include a portion for construction and include a portion to pay off what's remaining on the existing
Correct.
debt. I got it, thank you. Any other questions for Steve? Jody?
Well, Matthew,
Oh.
yeah.
Carolyn?
You haven't designed a 20,000 square foot building. Is that going to be sufficient for many years, or are you going to outgrow that and need bigger size within a few years?
I don't think we'll outgrow it in any time. We've been in this particular facility we're at now since the mid-'60s. So it's taken us quite a while to outgrow it. So I think we're looking at a similar time frame before we would outgrow this. Plus, the site that we have on McCutcheon is like 40 acres, and we're on a 10-acre site now, so there's considerable more room for expansion.
For the new council person's benefit, the original plan was to sell Sharp Road property and use those proceeds, either all or most of which, to build the Public Works building. But we haven't had anybody lining up yet for Sharp Road, so.
Yeah, and the only way I'm really gonna be able to bring that piece of property up to a sellable condition is to vacate it,
It looks terrible.
do the
It looks
environmental stuff, tear all the old buildings down, and then have a greenfield that could be redeveloped.
It might help just on the next, when we bring this back for council action on the contract, let's bring a whole site plan update, because most of the council hasn't seen that
Okay.
vision, and it's been 8 or 10 years that we've been working on this, so
Right,
it'll help to give some perspective.
we can do that.
And we talk about a lot about financing and what we could afford and not afford, but remember, the city has different buckets. So this particular bucket is coming, this bucket of money is the capital sales tax for capital improvements. So it's not general fund money.
I have a quick
David?
question.
Yes, David.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, my question, Steve, is just, I think you've talked a little bit about the design phase, but I'm just curious, the general timeline, when do you think this might be finished building and then the Sharp Road area cleared?
I'd say it'd be ambitious to be able to get into this facility before next winter. And I'm guessing it'll take at least a year or two to get a clean bill of health on the Sharp Road property and demolish everything and get it ready to go on the market.
Okay, but it looks like maybe next winter 2022, like January 2022, potentially could be ready to be used by street department.
I'm definitely gonna be using the salt facility, and we're gonna start putting materials out there and moving new stuff to that location. And then, so we don't have to move everything at once.
Right.
Whether we actually get into the building by then, I don't know. I'm hopeful that we will.
Okay, I was just curious, thank you.
Steve, you said something there about a clean bill of health. Are we concerned about past sins?
Yes, I mean, that particular site is part of the old, what they used to call the oil city. And we've been there, like I said, since the 60s. We operated our own underground fueling tanks and fuel farm there. We've had an asphalt storage facility. We used to make asphalt at that location.
Before we
Yeah, it's
bought,
gonna
before we
require
bought it?
A complete
Even
survey.
some of that since we bought it. We had an asphalt plant there.
Pardon?
We've had an asphalt plant there that we operated.
Yes, we operated an asphalt plant there for many years. Regulations with the clean air and everything just got to the point where it was impossible for us to do that anymore.
Yeah. I know there's a lot to get it nice, Steve, but there's probably some low-hanging fruit. I mean, when you come off the road, it looks terrible. I mean, we have just a lot of stuff just
Yeah, no,
laying around.
I understand that completely, yeah.
So-
We're gonna get all the stuff off of there and demolish the buildings, do the testing.
Okay.
There's not much salvage value left in the buildings that we have there. They're pretty well.
Yeah, I was thinking even just vegetation, but, any other questions, Jody?
I do. So Steve, it says we recommend that we develop a contract, and the cost is estimated at $2.5 million. So what approximately part of that is the design part, and what's the construction part, or?
The construction's gonna be a little over 2, the design will probably be a little less than 5, 500,000.
Okay, so then,
That would be for both the design and construction phase of the project.
It's an RFQ,
Yeah.
so that's why there's no bid.
okay. That was,
So what we should say is, Steve, I think you could do it for 200,000 since somebody's in the audience there. Write that down. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion to
So moved.
Second?
roll call vote, please? Just to be clear, so the motion is to select Archer Elgin for the design phase. Okay. Go ahead.
Schneider? Yes.
Yay.
Reuter?
Yes.
Boland?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Murphy?
Yes.
Schott?
Yes.
Crow?
Yes.
Muse?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Eberly?
yes,
Lyons?
Yes.
Trevese?
Next item is a motion, hopefully a motion to select the engineering consultant for the 18th Street Old St. James Road facility.
This project was also part of our approved budget in street and capital improvements. The intersection that, of 18th Street, Old St. James Road, Bardsley, and the Burlington Northern Railroad track has seen a pretty dramatic increase in traffic over the years. Since that intersection was originally built, traffic's about doubled. And to make a comparison, the traffic that goes through this intersection is more than the traffic that goes through the signals at 10th and Holloway. So it's reaching a point where we think we're gonna have to do something a little more than what's there now. Given the configuration and the fact that the railroad will be involved is something that we don't feel comfortable tackling ourselves. So we asked for requests for qualifications from people that might be, firms that might be interested in doing this intersection design for us. Lockmuir Group out of St. Louis was the only one that really responded to the RFQ. We've worked with Lockmuir in the past on other projects and have always been impressed with their work. So we're going to recommend that we go ahead and try to negotiate a contract with Lockmuir to do this work for us. And what they'll give us is a traffic study, and we're going to look at not only the intersection at that location, but how that might impact the 18th and Walnut and Cedar and all those other intersections that are up by 63. We'll also have to coordinate with the railroad. Anything we do there, we'll have to get their approval, and then we'll develop a preliminary design and preliminary cost estimate for what the improvements might cost, and then we would budget for that in a different budget year. It may be that we can get by for a few more years before we have to do the work. It may be that we're already behind the 8 ball, so that's something the consultant will.
What would the work potentially look like?
What will the new intersection look like?
Yeah. I mean, you have
It could be.
potentially X amount of options out there.
There are. There's a multitude of ways we could look at it. And the part of the problem that you have, though, is you've got the railroad involved in this thing. So you've got to make sure that that intersection can clear anytime a train comes through and the arms come down. So it makes it very difficult for signalized intersections. It's just, you know.
So years ago, when we bought the Ransdale building, it was with the intention of taking out that jug over there.
Correct.
Is that going to be looked at this time as well?
We could. I thought that Walnut, Cedar Street intersection is working pretty good right now. I don't know that we really need to take the bend out. It actually slows traffic down a little bit, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of traffic in that location as opposed to even when that project was done. And that's probably what participated the amount of traffic they were having now is because we do have that easier
So
connection to 60.
what's driving your concern? Is it we're seeing accidents go up, or you're seeing backlogs of cars, or what's,
Both.
other than just saying more traffic is going through there, something's piquing your curiosity?
Yeah, when we redid the intersection with the railroad tracks with the grade crossing, it was pretty obvious to us that we'd cut off a main artery in town, and it really was creating problems. And there's just a ton of traffic that goes through that, and I don't see it going down, I see it going up, particularly with the congestion along 63. People are finding that a way to get from the south side of town to the north side of town by going via Forum Drive and 18th Street. So, I'm not saying it's gonna have to be built tomorrow, but I am saying that it's not in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Well, if you're coming off the interstate, you're going anywhere south of Rolla, that's the shortest way.
Right.
So even for myself, when I come home from work, it's a cut through.
Yeah. And, you know, they put the bridge in out on the railroad tracks on Old St. James Road, the counts went from 500 cars a day to 5,000. So it's that whole area, that whole eastern segment over there has seen a lot of growth over the years. And quite frankly, I don't see it going any way but up.
Yeah, okay. Any questions for Steve?
I have a comment.
Yes, Christine?
Well, a comment and a question. How would redoing that, I mean, take into consideration the ambulance station there? Because that's right there. And that's the way I drive to work. And I will agree that certain times of day, it's a hot mess in that area. And if I need to make a left turn onto Bardsley, like today, it was a nightmare. People don't know where to stop to make that left turn. They were trying to make a left turn the other way, and it backs up traffic just doing that. So it definitely needs something.
Any other questions?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, Lester?
just trying to understand this process. We've got a lot of people who are knowledgeable about this, but I'm trying to get an understanding of the RFQ as opposed to putting in a general
Request for
bid.
qualifications.
Yes, request for qualifications.
Versus an RFP.
And when do we use the one over the other one, and why? It seems like to me that it's almost like you're hiring someone to consult, and then they're going to put a package together, how much it's going to cost, and we can either accept or not accept their package, or
Right.
so there's not like there's going to be a cost comparison to what it would be from another firm. We're just trusting them to do the whole shebang. Am I understand that correctly?
We're following state statutes. It's a state statute that requires us to request qualifications rather than a price proposal.
And that's for professional services, or that's, as I remember, it's a long time since I've seen it, or for engineering professional services?
Yeah, well, it's a little more broader than just engineering, but yes,
But-
professional
Yeah.
services.
Yeah.
So
So you're gonna go in and you're gonna, the idea is you're supposed to select, first and foremost, the most competent firm for the job.
Okay.
And then you're gonna fight over the money.
Okay, so when they make the bid, we still can,
Yeah, well, I wouldn't use the term bid, it's a negotiated rate.
okay,
As opposed to an RFP, which is more akin to a bid.
thank you, John. Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to contact
Second.
Buckmuller.
A motion and second? And, yeah. If there's no other questions, roll call vote.
Schott,
Yes.
Muse,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Eberly,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Trevese.
Moving on to claims and/or fiscal transactions, we have two. The first is awarding a bid for Kings Highway lights. Darren?
Staff received bids for the materials for Kings Highway lighting. So this is part of the large Kings Highway project going on right now. Council awarded the bid to Donald Magai Construction earlier in the year. Part of that bid was to install the materials that the Transportation Development District purchases. So this is what this is doing, it is purchasing the poles and the bracket arms for the lighting. The low bidder was Harry Cooper Supply Company out of Springfield for $68,366.75. So staff's requesting a motion for a bid award to the low bidder. Any questions? Yes.
I know we're relocating light poles on Kings Highway. Where are these poles gonna go?
So these will be streetlight poles. So they'll be very similar to what you see in Westside Marketplace, the black concrete poles, black arm, black fixtures. So they're going to go along the street.
Okay.
Can you, just at a later date, email the pictures
Sure.
to the council so they can see what they're going to look like? David, got a question?
Yeah, quick question. Just curious when you think that project will be wrapped up, Darren, just a general guess on that?
May next year.
Like the whole Kings Highway project would probably be about,
Okay, so MAGGI's contract has a completion date, I believe, of May 15th of next year. So then, assuming they get done on time, then we'd have the contract that council approved for Pierce to come in and do the asphalt. So that'd probably take us a month. So it's going to be mid to late summer next year. That project should be completely done.
appreciate it.
Part of that project is the turning lane at Motor Mart. How's that going, time-wise?
You drive out there right now, they're working on it right now. So.
And that's supposed to be completed when?
The turn lane should be completed before winter. I mean, they're digging out, pouring concrete on it tonight. So I'm hoping next month it should be done, the turn lane part.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Darren? If not, is there a motion to award the bid as recommended?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Reuter,
Yes?
Murphy,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Boland,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Prow,
Yes.
Mush,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Schott,
Yes.
Eberly,
Yes.
Trolvace.
Moving on to item 2, looking to award a bid for sanitary sewer line rehabilitation.
So attached in your packet is a contract to rehabilitate just under 7 cents of a mile of sanitary sewer line in Rolla. This will be the 10th year that staff is requesting to go into a cooperative agreement with Independence, Missouri for this bid. The low bid through Independence was in situ form. That's been the same low bidder last 10 years. So staff is requesting the council accept the bid submitted by in situ form through the cooperative bid for $180,128.50, and also the first reading of ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter contract for the same. And for you new council people in situ form, so instead of digging up a sewer line and replacing it, the company comes in and puts a liner inside the sewer line, and it's rehabilitated in like new condition without having to dig up the sewer. So it's a lot more cost effective than going and digging it up and replacing it in place. So,
Where's this going, Darren?
be honest with you, I meant to bring a map and I forgot. It's various places through town. I'll make sure I have a map at the next meeting.
Just curious.
A lot of it's down toward our southwest plant this year. Plant out on Mark Springs Drive has quite a bit in that area.
And in our other 9 years, have we been always satisfied with the work they've done?
Yeah, this company does excellent work.
Darren, I can just say how much is left of the city to do. You've been doing this for a good number of years.
Yes.
Is most of the city done? Or?
No.
No.
I mean, Steve probably know more than me. I'm gonna guess we're 15%, you think?
I've got 120 miles of sanitary sewers, probably 2/3 of that at some point in the near future is gonna have to be line. So, and we're doing a mile a year.
And we average a mile a
We've got
year.
a lot to do.
So we've done probably 10 miles and we've got 100 to do, so.
So we're doing the very, very old stuff, or we're doing stuff in the last?
No, old stuff.
Any other questions? Ann?
Yeah, just clarification, we're doing the visual into these areas, right?
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
They're doing the television, they're looking
Yeah,
at
so that's
them.
personally, yeah, that's, we've got our TV camera running all the time.
Right.
That's how we identify what we think needs to be relined, and then this company does the same thing. First thing they do is they come down and they camera with their camera everything that we've got on a list to make sure they agree with, with what we got, and then we approve it and go on.
Well, on the exhibit here on page 7, it's number 2, it says, if the laterals are encountered that can be positively identified with the camera as plugged, then they are not going to be reinstated. What, if you have a plugged lateral, what's going to happen?
So, especially in our old sewer mains, we've got lots of laterals that, runs to a house. Well, at some point that lateral went bad, so they've, run a new line and they've, capped that lateral. That's what they're talking about there. So, typically we try to die test ahead of them so we know which laterals are still connected and which ones have been disconnected. And the ones that are disconnected, they will not reinstall those with the line.
So they would remedy it?
Yeah.
They wouldn't try and reconstruct this one, but they would do a new one. Okay, thank you.
Carol?
So can you give us a year when Rolla will be completely done?
Hopefully in my lifetime.
Thank you.
Do you ever have to do an area twice?
We haven't yet. They say this project's good for 100 years.
And not every mile of sewer gets replaced with a situ form. There's sometimes where it makes sense to dig it up and replace, or if you have to enlarge the sewer line, then that obviously it doesn't work so well with in situ
Or
form.
there's times when it's in such poor condition that they can't reline it, and we have to dig it up and put in new main, so.
Have we ever been interrupted in our work because of noise from residents? Or here in one of these things it says, if on a normal working hours, if there's too much noise and the area was restricted for some reason.
I'm not aware of ever getting a complaint on noise from this company. It smells, so we get a lot of smell complaints, but I'm not aware of any complaints for noise.
Okay, thank you.
So council, it's a two-step process. The first one would be to award the bid. The second one would be to have the first reading. So the first question is there a motion to award the bid to in situ form?
So moved.
Motion made in second. Roll call vote.
Murphy?
Yes.
Lyons?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Boland?
Yes.
Schneider?
Yes.
Reuter?
Yes.
Muse?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Eberly?
Yes.
Florence?
Yay.
Schott?
Yes.
Crow?
Yes.
12 ayes.
Can we have the first reading, please?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Rolla, Missouri to execute on behalf of the city of Rolla, Missouri, a certain agreement between the city of Rolla, Missouri and In Situ Form Technologies USA LLC.
Moving on to citizen communication. Is there any citizen that would like to speak to city council? If not, moving on to mayor, city council comments. Before I get into...
Mayor, I think there was one. There's a gentleman.
Oh, okay. Wave that.
Good evening. My name is Matt Fridley. I'm a resident of the city of Rolla. I live at 914 East 10th Street. I'm here tonight, Mr. Mayor, to address this body, and you as well, to bring to your attention the increase in the amount of crime that is occurring in the city of Rolla. This Sunday morning at approximately 1:10 a.m., my wife and I were subjected to an intruder on our property. This is the second such incident in the last 2 years. Where we've had someone come onto our property. In the past 2 years, we have added security cameras to our residence. We have made it clear with different lighting that we are home and that we are there, and we continue to see issues on our street. I have a great relationship with the Rolla Police Department and trust their work. I have been known to call the Rolla Police Department's non-emergency line when there are individuals across the street at the Presbyterian Church to protect their interest. I take care of my neighbors. I take care of individuals throughout the city. And I'm concerned that we continue to see issues with individuals in that area and around the city. I have lived here, as I said, for 17 and a half years. My wife and I moved here when our children were younger. I've worked in the city since the late 90s, and we were able to buy a house on June 26, 2003. I remember that because that was the first check I received from my employer at the time. And my wife and I have always felt it necessary to get out and get some exercise, although if you look at me, I need a little more, but I don't know many of us in our 50s that don't. And as we make our rounds throughout the city, we continue to find more and more issues that concern us. I walk around Burwan Park and I see needles. I see individuals that will ask you for money or treat you in a way or walk by you in such a way that you feel threatened. I ask Mr. Mayor that this body continue to support Rolla Police Department and continue to push for the important parts of what needs to be done to keep our communities safe. I served in the United States Marine Corps. I'm not afraid of very much, but I can tell you at 1 o'clock in the morning when an individual with a stick walks in my yard that I find out has 7 pages of crimes on CaseNet, many of which are felonies, and one of which the individual served or was sentenced to 12 years in prison, I become concerned. I will tell you, I've written a complaint that I filed with a police officer, and I'm hopeful that the city prosecutor will pursue charges for trespassing. But more than that, I hope that individuals on this board realize the importance of stepping up and protecting our community. I work with little children in the daytime, but I can tell you, when they go home at night, I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure that my students, when I come back to work, and I'm here as a citizen, not anything other than that, come back to me in the morning and they are safe, that they have a safe place to come to. And when I see a city council that is willing to question some of the necessary equipment that is available for police officers to keep them safe, or vote no whenever we need a police officer in a certain area of this community, I get concerned. And there are many more out there like me. I live in Ward 3, but I can tell you in the next election there'll be far more individuals voting, and that's what I'm hopeful for. We need to speak up. We need to protect our community. And once again, I want to say how much I appreciate the work that Rolla Police Department does, and I'm tired of hearing all the questions that are presented that honestly, individuals that don't have a clue what is going on in some of these areas are asking or presenting. I thank you for your time, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to City Council? If not, moving on to Mayor and the City Council comments. Before I get to the reappointments, I would like to give the updated COVID numbers for the area. These are as of today and reported by Phelps County Health Department. Our cumulative cases, positive cases so far in the county stands at 605. The number of active cases are at 124. There are currently 8 hospitalized. The number of people that had been hospitalized and released, number 17. And sadly, we've had 16 deaths. A subset of those statistics, the St. James Veterans Home currently has 37 vets that have tested positive, and 2 are active today and 2 are hospitalized. And sadly, 12 of them have passed away. For Missouri Science and Technology, they continue to do an outstanding job. There's a cumulative of 123 total cases and only 14 that are considered active. As of last week, Rolla Public Schools, this was late last week on Thursday, 26 students tested positive, 379 are quarantined, presumably because of people that are in their periphery. Staff positives, cumulative 9, and the number in quarantine are 23. So the numbers are rising, but I think there's another part that the statistics are starting to bear out. And early on, we had what I would say a number of isolated hotspots. We've certainly moved from that today, and the number of cases are basically in all sorts of industries and various environments. So that would suggest that our community has more widespread transmission than it did as of a couple of months ago. So that's where the tail of the tape is, so to speak. I have two requests tonight. One is a reappointment of Mike Singleton to the Rolla Housing Authority Board. Do I have your advice and consent to do that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
The second is also a reappointment of Dan Maxey to the Board of Adjustment.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote, please.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Bush.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Eberly.
Yes.
Prowl.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Reuter.
Yes.
12 ayes.
Any other council comments that are not on the agenda? David?
Yeah, just wanted to make a couple comments. For those council folks that don't check their email, or for the public that isn't aware, City Council did get a fair number of emails this week about concern for COVID and the interest in seeing folks protect each other by having a mask ordinance in place. There was a number of fairly long emails that were very persuasive as to, the science, I think, pretty much shows why, putting a mask on for yourself helps others. And in any case, I just wanted to highlight also that, I wanted to let folks know and the public know that we are getting a lot of input. People are very concerned. There's a lot of people worried because there's so many people in our community that aren't being concerned about their fellow citizens when they're out in public. But I wanted to highlight what the mayor said too. That came from Ashley's update. She said Missouri S&T has had a total of 123 cases with only 14 remaining active. 12 of those are currently in Phelps County. S&T has done an exceptional job of handling COVID-19. And I just want to, recognize that and thank the university, but also recognize the fact that they have many, many things in place. But I think one of the most important from a public health standpoint that almost all public health professionals mention is mask wearing mandate. You can't really go anywhere indoors on campus without a mask, and even outdoors a lot of people are, but I think obviously the most important is indoors. And I just wanted to mention it because I think the reason they're doing exceptional, and maybe we as Rolla aren't doing as exceptionally, is because they have those regulations in place.
Thank you. Any other council comments? If not, comments for the good of the order. I have one. Chief Smith, I think next week is Fire Prevention Week? Yes, sir. Yes. Would you like to say a few words about that? I'm sure we have a little more of a scaled down community approach to that this year, but why don't you tell us about Fire Prevention Week?
So each year, the fire departments rally around the National Fire Protection Association and distribute a message talking about various fire safety mechanisms that people can enjoy and have within their home. One of the biggest things that we encourage people to have is a smoke detector. Of all the things that you can install in your home, a smoke detector is the cheapest and the easiest method to protect your life. And so many times we see people who have smoke detectors but take them out, the battery out of them. They do beep occasionally. When the battery is dead, the smoke detector will beep every 30 seconds. And that usually happens around 2 a.m. At least it does in my house. Now I'm a paranoid firefighter. I have 16 smoke detectors in my home. That is what I have. And my installer was like, "You're crazy." And I was like, Yes, I am, but I want to protect my home and my children. Do not put 16 smoke detectors in your house because it's $50 a year for Duracell. But you should have them, and they should be in hallways and bedrooms. The most common place where you sleep is your bedroom. I want you to get out quickly, fast, and once you're out, stay out. So many times, a parent will not recognize that the child is out. And the child will not have a meeting place, and they may be outside, but they may be in the backyard, and the parent's in the front yard. And now the parent thinks, child's still inside. Well, I'm going to risk my life to save my child. And they do, and they lose their life, and the child was outside. So teach your children teach your children what a smoke detector sounds like, test it, and then show them where to meet, and have a designated meeting place for them so that they can rally around that point, everybody get out safe, and we'll be there very, very quickly. The Rolla Rural Fire Protection District today responded to a fire on a highway. It was quite changing to me in that the resident called 911 very, very quickly. This is a nice home out in the A addition off of Highway E. And they did a phenomenal job of saving that home and that property. And so our responders are there. 911 has a purpose. Do not call the fire station. That's another little community blurb. Don't look up the number in the phone book. Don't look us up on Google. 911 has a purpose. And that one is a little frustrating for us in that people call us with the emergency. We don't always answer the phone. We're not always there. 911 is there 24/7, 365 days a year. And guess what? In Phelps County, every fire department is a tax district. There's no fees for us to come and put your fire out. Now, we may talk about it afterwards, but there's no fees for us to come and put the fire out. So call us, call 911, have a working smoke detector, teach your children where to meet, and that's our PSA for today. Thank you.
Three things. Can you talk about the need to replace smoke detectors because they quote-unquote wear out, not battery-related? With the heating system come, very similar to this, is carbon monoxide. So if you could talk about that. And then last question is, what is the number one cause of home fires?
Many of them are electrical fires. So we see a lot of phone chargers. We just had one this last week, a phone charger in the home, unoccupied in a chair. You see them in a chair. You see them in a lot of cushioned areas. And so we see a lot of electrical overloads. To answer your question directly, it's extension cords. The little brown and white extension cords that you buy at the local store that are 97 cents are very dangerous. They cause a lot of fires throughout America. Do not, and you put your Christmas tree on them, you put your Christmas lights on them, you put, you're plugging in a coffee pot to them. Those things go directly into the wall. But those little chargers and those types of things, those electrical overloads, do not put enough charge out to throw the breaker, and then since the breaker doesn't throw, it sits there and burns and catches on fire. So that's one of the, and another type of fire is the inattentive, the one that's inattentive, cooking fires. So when you're cooking on the stove, everyone has a phone, everyone's distracted, everyone has the TV on. It's another leading cause of fires in our home is the kitchen fire. So we encourage you in those avenues. Now, I'm not saying that you should unplug your charger or your extension cord. You should limit the use of those things to areas that more like a kitchen table, more on a desk. Put a charger on a desk, but eliminate as many extension cords as you can, and that will better protect your home.
Carbon monoxide protectors.
Carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas that you can't see, smell, or taste. So a lot of people in the wintertime have a generator, the power goes out, they put the generator in the garage, and it fills up with carbon monoxide, and you don't wake up. You don't see it, you don't smell it, and you can't taste it. The only way for you to protect yourself, and the only reason you need a carbon monoxide detector in your home is if you have gas heat, or wood heat, or a water heater, or you have a generator. Those are reasons that you would, if you have all electric home, all electric water heater, everything in your house is electric, you don't need a carbon monoxide detector. But, yes, ma'am.
People that have attic fires, putting a smoke detector in your attic, is that would you hear that?
You would not, but you could put a heat detector in the attic. So they sell a separate type of, that can be alarmed as well, that would alarm into the home, and it's a heat detector. It would function the very same way. It would activate an alarm, notify you in the home. If you had a heat rise and it gets to a specific temperature, it would go off.
Mm-hmm. So where would you place that heat detector, out of the attic, or, and thread something up, or would the heat detector be in the attic?
I don't have one in my attic, but you can put them in your attic. I would not put a working smoke detector in my attic because it will alarm all the time. You'll be very frustrated, and then you will ignore it, and it could be an actual fire. So I would not put one in my attic. You could put a heat detector there.
Okay.
And you could replace a smoke detector with that option. Same thing with your kitchen. If you're like me, you burn the toast every time you cook toast.
Right.
Put a heat detector in that area if you're determined to have one in that. That help?
Mm-hmm.
Carbon monoxide, if you have a detector, they are very sensitive. So if you put one by your garage and you park in the garage, you open the door, you've shut the garage door, and you make that transition, it could go off and it frustrate you. Don't put one near your garage. Don't put it in the direct area that you have your gas water heater or your gas stove or gas furnace, but just outside those areas. And carbon monoxide is just like the air. It's not heat sensitive. So a smoke detector goes in the middle of the room, not in a corner. Carbon monoxide detector can go anywhere there's air movement. So plug it into the wall, set it in the middle of the room. Carbon monoxide just transitions just like oxygen in the air. It's not lighter or heavy, it just moves around in the air as you have air current. They're about $30, they're a little expensive. Back to smoke detectors, we'll give them away. We have a contract with the Walmart, we have a contract with the Healthy Baby of Phelps County, PCCAN, who gives us, we give away hundreds of smoke detectors every year. We can't afford to do that with carbon monoxide. Anyway, it's a poisonous gas that you can't see or smell or taste. Now, sometimes when they go off, you should call us. You should call 911. That's the purpose of it. If it goes off, we have special meters that we are able to detect carbon monoxide in your home. They are bump tested once a month, which means they are certified monthly. So they're calibrated. We know they work. We know that we put so much carbon monoxide in them. It tests it, tells us what we should read. If it doesn't read that, we send it off and have it repaired. So these are $6,000, $7,000 meters that we carry that are purchased through your Homeland Security money. So that's my spiel on carbon monoxide.
I want to circle back to batteries, because lithium batteries are dangerous. There's a reason why the airlines don't want you to take lithium batteries on airplanes. You don't want to leave them on the charger or iPhones or iPads, because these things can catch fire. A couple of years ago, there was a young lady in Ohio University that fell asleep with her iPad in bed with her, and she died because a fire started. So these things can have thermal runaway. And lithium batteries are in a lot of devices today. So, you talk about where you charge things. If you have a vacuum cleaner, that's a lithium-ion battery. You have a drill. Don't put those in the closets and leave them on a charger. Keep them out in the open. Charge them, pull the charger out of the wall. Again, they're dangerous, so we don't want anybody to get hurt. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a wonderful team. I'm going to brag on my team for just a moment. We have a wonderful team protecting the city of Rolla. We have 29 full-time on-duty firefighters. 27 of them are protecting you every day of the year, 365 days a year. I was sitting at the fire station this last week, and our people are very, very cautious about COVID. They're working very hard to protect themselves and each other. And they had just returned from a call, and they were sitting there and had just purchased their lunch. They had went to Long John Silver's. One group had went to Long John Silver's. The other group had went to Wendy's. And this is a group of men and women who enjoy what they do, and they'll sacrifice everything to save people's lives. And they enjoy being a servant of the public. And they no more had unwrapped their sandwich, and some people put that little vinaigrette on their fish, and I was watching them intently because it made me hungry. to be quite honest. And they put the tartar sauce, they'd ripped open the tartar sauce, and that tone went off that moment, just as they had the burger in their hands. And they were like, oh, it happens every time. So this hot meal now, they ran away from and hit that truck in less than a minute. They're on that road. They put their sandwich, set it right, not a bite was taken from it. They drive and go to that call. They finish that call. They back into the fire station. They walk in the fire station. They get out all of their sandwiches.
No.
A second call. That's what they do. And that's the responsibility. And thank you for recognizing them on National Fire Protection Week and what they do. They enjoy their job and they appreciate all you do for them. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Any other council comments? Or comments for the good of the order? If not, moving into closed session, we have 2 items today, one dealing with contract negotiations and one dealing with personnel. Is there a motion to go into closed session for those 2 purposes?
Make a motion.
Second?
Motion made and second, roll call vote.
Muse,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Reuter,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Lyons,
Yes.
Prowl,
Yes.
Florence,
Yay.
Higgins,
Yes.
Eberly,
Yes.
Rowland,
Yes.
12 ayes.
Is there something back there?